So welcome to JG's Fight Talk. And obviously, this man doesn't need any introduction, but I'll give him one anyway. Here he is. We've got Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Thank you very much for joining me, Ray.
Joe, my pleasure. Pleasure to be here.
I'll say it's all kind of happened all at once because you only flew over on Wednesday.
Yes, got here Wednesday morning for Scott Murray's Excelsior promotions. The fights were last night, and another great night of boxing. And it's the old. What I love about it, Scott, is a throwback to the old days of black tie event, 5-course dinner, and then you have the boxing, the entertainment, and they don't do that in America too much anymore. I mean, once in a while there was an event I used to go to yearly, but that stopped. I did it for like 30 years in Washington D.C. But it ended about 5 years ago. So there's nothing like that in America right now. And I don't know how many places here that in the UK have it, but certainly Scott's one of them, if not the only one.
Yeah, Scott will tell you we just love a 5-course meal over here.
Yeah.
That's all it is, mate. There's not much else to it. We get to scoff our face and at the same time watch boxing. It's a dream.
Yes, and you get to dress up. That's the beautiful thing. The black tie event, and that used to be the norm back in the days, the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s of the heyday of boxing. Those days seem to be long gone.
So, no, and as I say, Scott's doing a great job of bringing those nights back to us. As you were talking about last night, he just puts on the great shows, doesn't he?
Well, that's it. And I've talked to Scott many times about it. I said, Scott, I don't know if people remember what you fed them, but they will remember the fights. So, meaning the fact that you have to put on entertaining fights. It don't have to be, and the fact that he's building a lot of these young guys up is important. You got to build young local fighters up, give them an opportunity to fight at least a couple times a year. But the thing is, like I said, people, if they'll enjoy a complete night of entertainment. The food's good, great. What did you eat? I don't know, but it was great, and the fights were great. That's the thing. But people have to understand, and Scott understands it. You put entertaining fights on, just evenly matched fights. And it's entertaining. I always tell people, for me, what an entertaining fight is? The guy who's 2-11 fighting a guy 3-13, because neither guy can fight a lick, but together they make a great fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't fight a guy 3-11 fighting a guy 10-2 or 11-1. You can't do that. That's
it's one of those things, and it's all about seems to be about protecting the O these days, and like I think the UFC seem to get it right at the moment, where it's all about they just want to fight the best. They just want to get in there and do what they're doing. We're seeing it a bit more now in some of the lighter weights. We are seeing those big fights. Obviously, Spence and Crawford coming up, massive fight, great fight.
Yeah, but it's past its expiration date, in my view.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, well, they'll still sell out." But you don't understand. 3 years ago, the fight was supposed to happen, right before Errol got in a car accident. They were going. That looks like that fight was going to be made. So, and unfortunately, got in a car accident. And then when he come back, and then they each fought another fight, which you have to do to keep back into it. But then Errol hasn't fought in over a year again, and Spence and Crawford's almost been a year. So the point I'm trying to make is, they kept talking. Finally, they made it. I'm glad they made it. It's one of the best fights that can be made. Both special fighters. It's gonna be a great fight. Hopefully, when it happens, hopefully it'll live up to its expectations. But to me, and my sons disagree with me, but I think it's past the expiration date. It would have been better 3 years ago. At the height. But will it still be a good product? Yes, I think it could be, should be, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm going to chuck it at you, Ray, while we're on the subject. Who wins?
I'm picking Spence. Spence is just too big and too strong, in my view. Errol's a big guy. He could be fighting middleweight. Trust me, he's got big, broad shoulders. He's a tall guy. Now, but Crawford, height-wise, they're about the same. But physique-wise, Errol's much wider. And I think he's strong. He's a bigger puncher. And Errol walks you down. He comes in. He comes at you. He walks you down. Bud switches left to right. Again, special talent. It's just a great. They're both special fighters. I just think Errol's being too strong. And at the end of the day, that strength and aggression, punching power will win out.
Honestly, Ray, I could listen to you all night. I know we haven't got all night, but just your passion for the sport and your knowledge of the sport, you've been there and done it yourself. 34 fights, 29 wins, 23 knockouts. It's a hell of a record, and spanning over such a great time of boxing in general. You know, I wasn't around, but when I look back at fighters like you, they're few and far between these days. They generally are. I was talking to Scott, and he said, "What a guy, as well as a gentleman, just a top guy." But your debut back in '79, when you won by knockout against Phil Bowen,
Phil Bowen,
and then you think you had 19 more wins until your first defeat. Right. That's not even heard of these days, to be fair.
Yeah, and I have an opportunity to fight Alexis Arguello. Now, Alexis Arguello, one of the greatest fighters of all time, and one of my heroes. Growing up, I used to watch him all the time. I remember when he won the featherweight title by beating Ruben Olivares, and he beat Olivares in Los Angeles. And I remember he beat Alfredo Escalera in Puerto Rico in Escalera's backyard for the 130-pound title. Then he came over here and fought Jim Watt, and he beat Jim Watt. Now, I watched that fight, and he didn't look that impressive. Now, in retrospect, very few people look impressive against Jim Watt. Jim Watt's a very awkward fighter, but Alexis beat him. And I had just come off I had beat the number 6 contender in the world. I just beat the number 3 contender in the world when they offered me to fight. I said, to be the best, you want to fight the best. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So, let's do it. And I felt I was young, my strength, aggression, my youth, all of that would be able to compensate for the lack of experience or the experience that he had over me. But I was wrong because, and that's why I always tell it's got to be, to me, the true championship distance is 15 rounds, not 12. And that's no knock on the fighters. The fighters, they didn't change it, the rules, powers that be changed rules. And that's another whole different thing I don't agree with because, first of all, the course of history of boxing would be changed if it wasn't for 15 rounds. I mean, Joe Louis would never beat Billy Conn. He would never win. He beat him in the 13th round in 1937. He was way behind Billy Conn. Rocky Marciano was way behind Joe Walcott. He knocked him out in the 13th round. And we know that Ray Leonard was way, way behind Tommy Hearns going into the 14th round. Had no way of winning if it wasn't, and he knocked him out in the 14th round. So the course of history, and if it's according to that, I'd be undefeated because I was beating Aguayo after 12 rounds, and I was beating Bramwell when I lost my title. I was beating Bramwell after 12 rounds. So my point being is, the course of history would be changed, but it is what it is. This is the new age of boxing, and so I think that boxing's, there's a lot of good fighters, a lot of terrific fighters out there, a lot of great fights to be made. I just like to see them be made faster and more of them. Don't make it, look, when Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns, they called each other. Much like Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. But they told Bob, make the fight. And Bob, it was a 50-50 split. Perfect. We're both going to make a lot of money. We're both going to make a lot. But this got held back because Errol Spence, and I'm disappointed in this respect, Errol Spence was saying, no, man, it's going to be 70-30, 60-40. I make more.
We're seeing this with Fury as well, aren't we, Ray? Let's be honest.
Exactly.
Let's not even get into that.
Exactly, please. And so if you want to beat the best fights, you know what a great deal is? A deal makes sense for you. A deal makes sense for me. 50-50 makes sense because we all make a lot of money. We all make a lot of money. And
it's greed, isn't it? It's greed.
It is. You start thinking and I never heard this term. Well, the term A side, B side. That started with Mayweather coming up. Look. Back in the day when I was coming up, you both had to be A fighters, A side to make a pay-per-view fight. You both had to be A side. You could have A side, B side. That doesn't make for a pay-per-view. But that's where the pay-per-view, how bad that's gone. That now you got one guy who's the so-called A side, another guy who's, a lot of people don't even know. And you want me to pay X amount of dollars to see it? Who are these guys? So this is where boxing's at. Without network television being involved, we'll never have the same popularity that we once had. Never.
No, and he's mad at the moment, and that's the thing. I think they were talking about the price that could potentially be for that fight is $80. which is crazy. We do really well over here in the UK, to be honest, with prices. It just seems to work in our favour, but the Americans pay through the nose for some of the fights.
Stupid. Yeah. Look, Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. Who's Ryan Garcia? What has he ever done? He did nothing in his entire nothing to earn that fight against Tank Davis. And
Tank's something else.
He's a special fighter. I got to know him. He's a fine young man. He come from a rough upbringing. I mean, really, really rough. So where he's at now, I admire what he's accomplished, coming from where he come from. But and obviously he just recently got himself jammed up again in the situation. And I just think he needs to have the people guiding. He needs to a good mentor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's a fine young man and a hell of a fighter. If they had a round robin tournament, he would be, in my view, come out on top.
The thing that's got me, you're talking about how boxing was and how it is now, but you fought 12 times in 1980.
Yeah,
that is incredible. Like you look now, and how many times do we see people fight a year? 3, 4 at most, if that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And that's one a month, basically.
Right.
It is.
That's what I average. But that's on the way up. That's what you're supposed to do. In other words, there was one time I fought 3 times in 10 days. Now, you're not getting no world beaters, but I was on the way up. My 6th fight, my 7th fight, 8th fight. Meaning, you fought one guy, and if you got through him, then my manager had the next fight set up. And if you got through him, but the point being is, it's not the physical part. I knocked the guys out. One guy in the first round, the next guy in the second round, the next guy in the third round. But they're the right opponents for you on the way up. It is not the physical part. It's the mental part.
Yeah.
Every time you get up, you come back down. Now you have to get up again in a short period of time. That's what I'm saying. It's the mental part that takes its toll on you. And so you got to, on the way up, you got the right opponent. And then you get to a certain point, and then you start better fighters. That's why I was 120-0 when I fought Aguayo. And everyone thought I was crazy because he was a 3-time world champion. But I saw, again, to be the best, you want to fight the best. And when you get the opportunity, we're going to say, no, I'll just wait till next time. Who does that?
Yeah.
No real fighter does that.
You don't know if there is a next time.
Exactly.
Your career, an injury, whatever, you've got to go with it, haven't you?
Exactly. And to be the best, you want to fight the best and beat the best. And he was the best. I thought I could do it. So this is why, you look back and I see a lot of these guys, and why these fights aren't being made or haven't been made yet is beyond me. And forget about money. I would literally have fought for nothing for the chance to win the world title. Literally. Yeah. Because once you win the world title, then you can name your price.
Yeah.
Money will come after the fact. But these guys seem to want to do it before the fact. They haven't done anything. As I said, Ryan Garcia did absolutely nothing to earn that fight. He gets the fight, and what did he do? He quit. He quit in the fourth. And he looked up and Tank Davis. Could he have gotten up? Sure, he could have gotten up. But he thought to himself, why would I get up and take more of an ass whipping?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? So to
be fair though, Ray, I wouldn't have got up. But in a fighter mode, I totally understand where you're at.
Of course, and he lost all credibility as far as I'm concerned. But here's to show you how the craziness. They're talking about him fighting another big fight, coming up with another pretty good name. This kid shouldn't even be in the mix. He shouldn't even be in it. He should start all over. They should let him start all over again. But he 4 rounds. He quit. Oh my God! You can't make this up. And now they're still talking about him come back for another big fight. So these are the things. And your man over here, Luke Campbell, exposed him when he dropped him.
Yeah.
Luke, with a left hand, Luke Campbell.
Great shot as well.
Yeah, and he's past. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's a little past his prime. So he came over as the opponent and he dropped him. They expect that to happen. So I think Luke Campbell exposed him. He got exposed by Tank Davis, and I just think it's not impressed. I'm not impressed by him. And then he blames his promoter, De La Hoya. For
yeah.
He didn't do the fighting, so he didn't do.
They look to everyone else when it,
Yeah. So this is what's going on with boxing. Nobody was taking responsibility, but I guess maybe it's society in general. Nobody was taking for anything anymore.
Going back to you though, Ray, Ohio Athletic Commission, Ohio lightweight title, North American Boxing Federation lightweight title, and the WBA. the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
WBA World Lightweight title. What a feeling.
Yeah, it was. People would say, "What was it? What was the feeling?" It was just that, and people, I told them it was euphoric. It's a euphoric feeling. It was like an out-of-body experience almost, you know.
Yeah.
Because I had that in my lifelong dream since I was a boy, since day one. That's all I ever dreamed about, and to finally achieve that dream. I tell people there was nothing in my life that I'll ever have that same feeling or experience again. The only thing that was better than that, the only thing was seeing each one of my children born. That was it. Other than that, in my business life, there'll never be another experience like that. But that's okay. I got to feel it. So, but it was a wonderful. Like I said, it was a euphoric feeling, and as high as it was and it's just as low as you get when you lose the title, you know. But that's life, right? And that's what boxing is a parallel with life. All the cliches you hear, get knocked down, you got to get back up. You got to roll with the punches. You know, you got to be able to take it on the chin. All those type of boxing cliches, but it's the truth. That's life.
Yeah,
it's God's truth.
Yes, I always go back to like the Rocky sayings. Nothing's going to hit you as hard as life. Do you know what I mean? It's always Sylvester Stallone was the man when it came to writing stuff like that. But just what a career when you look from 79 to 92, the span of the career, your achievements.
Joel, yeah, and I appreciate. Let me clarify that, and I do this because they say 79 to 92. My career ended in 1985. When I came back against Camacho in 1989, I don't constitute myself as an active fighter. After 4 years, I was an active fighter. I just wanted to come out. And then after that fight, I was retired for another 3 years. And I was actually, you know, I'm in the entertainment business, and I was actually doing an off-Broadway play in New York when they offered me Greg Hagen. And I said, Greg Hagen. And the thing is, ego got involved there. See, Camacho was personal. That was a personal thing between us. It never happened when it should have happened. So I was still young enough to able, and even though I was out 4 years, when that fight came up, I was able to take advantage because I was still in shape. Now, I got married a month after the Camacho fight. So I got married in April of '89. I'd been off living. I had my second child in November of '91, and I went away to training camp in February. And remember the Eric Clapton song, "Tears in Heaven"? That would come on every day at 2:00. Every day when I get up, get ready, and I'd be crying, bawling like a baby, crying my eyes, and I couldn't control it because I felt so guilty about leaving my son, leaving my wife, leaving my children, leaving my wife. So, and no excuse. Meaning, I didn't have the mind anymore. I didn't have the mind. I trained like a champion. When I accepted that fight, like I said, I was doing an off-Broadway play. I said, I want to see if I could still train like a world champion. I still see if I could compete like a champion. So I accepted it. But that was ego. And ego gets you your ass whipped when it comes to life and love, right? So I went in there. I trained like a champion. I just couldn't fight like a champion. And I knew that. I was in the dressing room before the fight. I told my trainer, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in there tonight. He said, well, it's a hell of a time to tell me now, isn't it? So, yeah. So I was beat long before I went in that ring. Now, the only good thing that come out of that fight was there's no more what ifs. Oh, I got to do it again. No more. It resolved it. Yeah. I would listen to myself after the Camacho fight. And the real reason I people say, 1979, 92, 79, 85. The last two fights.
No, I totally get it. Now you've said it.
Yeah. I mean, I retired in 85 because after 4 years, that doesn't constitute an active fighter. And that should have been it. And then 3 years later, but I was still young enough to do it. But just, a fight of my style, a guy who keeps coming, we got to fight regularly. You got to fight regularly. Or you
stay active. Yeah.
Exactly. A guy like Ray Leonard could take off the time because he could move around for 3 or 4 rounds. He could reacclimate it to the ring before he does anything. So he could do that. A fighter like me can't. And it proved it. And, that last fight, I embarrassed myself. But I should have. I should have been embarrassed because I disrespected the sport. I disrespected myself, my family. And I apologized to everybody. And because of that, but ego, that was all ego. I could still do this. I got to prove to myself. No.
But do you know what though, Ray? As a boxing fan, talking to a legend of the sport, in my eyes, you go down as a legend. That's how boxing fans see you, and
thank you. That's very
you know
kind.
it's a pleasure to have you on. I know you're busy and you've got stuff to do. Can I ask one quick story? Scott chucked at me. Reservoir Dogs. Is that all I need to say to you?
Yeah. True story. So, and it's been on, and it's actually been written about, and it's been in some of the European papers, but it's true.
I did laugh a lot. I'm going to be honest.
I was acting, and I auditioned for Reservoir Dogs for Mr. Pink, which eventually Steve Buscemi played.
Yeah. Great film.
Yeah, and Steve Buscemi's a friend of mine. We did a movie together. Wonderful actor. But yeah, I went in, and I really felt great if I could do this role, man. I thought I could have been perfect. So I went in the first reading. Wow, man, you really knocked it out of the park. That was great. Well, and so now I'm reading for the casting directors, of course, right? Not Tarantino this time. So I get a call back. I do this. I go, man, that was great, man. You're doing great. I get a second call back. Now, when you get a second call back, and this is the third time I'm going up, usually it's only because they want to either between you and one or two other people, and now they're trying to figure it out, right? So now Tarantino's there, and I go and I knock it out of the park, and I get done. And Tarantino says, "Wow!" Now he's sitting behind the table. There's a table in front. He goes, "Wow, man, you blew me away with that, but I can't give you the role." I said, "What?" He said, "I can't give you the role." I said, "What do you mean you can't give me the role?" He said, "I can't give you the role because people would say they would take him right out of the movie. They say that's Boom Boom Mancini. They would take him right out of the movie." And I said, "So why did you have me come in here for the third time?" He says, "I got to be honest with you. I just wanted to meet you, and I was hoping that you would fail." He said, "But you didn't." So now the surge of, I got so incensed. Now I'm walking for it, and I'm not bumping the table, and the people are like, "Oh, Mr. Man." I said, "You no good." And I called him every name. "Son of a gun. I'll beat your ass. I'll come over. I'll beat you like Oh, and that was serious. I was livid, and I was calling him every name in the book. And I said, "You can't me come here like I'm some jerk off. Don't you ever? I'll get you. I'll beat you. I just everything. I was livid. I stopped. I turned and started walking away. And then I remembered. See, in Hollywood, if they think you're crazy, man, if they think you're nuts, you'll never work. They don't want to deal with the headache. No one's to deal with the headache, So I started walking away, and I caught myself. I stopped. I turned around and looked. How's that for acting? Oh my God! But I wasn't acting. It's just that I caught myself in time.
Yeah. Before you hit him, basically. Yeah.
So, but that's a true story. Now, that caught on, and I've told that story. It gone into the European papers. Now, of course, he would never remember that because he's had a lot of people audition for him, and they're not going to remember that. But trust me, actors remember everything. We know when we lose out for a role. You know all the little stories. You know all the little details. Actors don't forget nothing because they know how much it hurts because you want something so bad and you don't get the opportunity. Which is one of the reasons why I tell people, what's the difference between acting? What's easier, acting or fighting? Boxing? I said, boxing is much easier because if I get in the ring, I control my own destiny. I win, I lose. It's in my hand. Acting, it's at the hands of others. A casting agent, producer.
Clearly.
Yeah. So, that's a true story. If I could have got to him, I'd have beat him. That would have been a whole different story.
That would have been a whole different story. That one, wouldn't it?
But he's a brilliant director. But he's a brilliant director, obviously.
My wife's favorite was Harvey Keitel. She's a massive.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Great guy.
Harvey was wonderful. So now people say, "Well, Steve Buscemi." Oh, well, of course, Steve Buscemi. I said, no. Don't get it twisted. Steve's a friend of mine. We work together. He's a wonderful actor. I'd have been as good, different, but as good. Do you know what I mean?
Right. You would have been better. Let's be honest.
But I played that role just as good, but in a different way. You know what I mean? And that's people don't understand. Look, people always talk about the great movies. The great movies, Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart. But people don't realize Humphrey Bogart wasn't the first choice. George Raft was the first choice. George Raft played the role. Then he had to pull out, and they give it to Humphrey Bogart. Marlon Brando wasn't the first. For The Godfather. They had other actors. Al Pacino. They signed Ryan O'Neal to play Michael. They had Robert De Niro to play Sonny, You know,
Yeah.
and so they switched everything around. My point is, there's so many of those type of stories, right? That you go, I can't believe, you know. Then when you realize that actor, you go, you can't envision anybody else playing that role. But there's other actors who could have done the role differently, but maybe as, you know, but like I said, as good. So yeah, that's a true.
You know what? Every film I watch now, Ray, I'm going to go. I reckon RayMancini could have been just as good as him.
Hey,
Yeah.
I want to keep it short. And that tells Scott, this is funny. I've been mistaken for 2 actors in my time. One, I'll tell you. One was I got mistaken for Daniel Craig, James Bond. He's younger than me. I'll take it.
Take the money, Ray. Take the money.
I'll take, I've been mistaken on the street, not in acting. And he's a wonderful actor. I love him, right? But I've been mistaken. I tell Scott the story. I got mistaken. I was on a street corner in Santa Monica, and the guy, and I was talking to a friend of mine who was filming something, and I hear Liam. Liam, what are you doing? You making a movie? And they're talking to me. I said, and I realized they think I'm Liam Neeson. Liam, what are you doing? One of the movies. Then they're taking. Who are you taking this time? You know. And I realized that. And I said, no, I'm just talking to a friend of mine. Oh man, Liam, we love you. And the car drives off. Now here's the rub. Liam Neeson's 6'2", 6'4", and he's 8 years older than me. I was like 54. He was already 61, 62 at the time. I'm 62 now. He's got to be what? He's 70, 69, 70. He's not. But don't forget the age-wise. He's 6'2", 6'4".
But let's be honest. Tom Cruise played Jack Reacher.
Yeah,
and Jack Reacher's meant to be about 7 foot, and Tom Cruise definitely isn't 7 foot.
I've had people when they meet me, they go, "No, you're too small to be a Boom Boom Mancini." I go, "Yeah, trust me. TV makes you look bigger and heavy. I got it. Yeah." So I understand that. But so I got mistaken for two actors. Really, the only 2 actors I've ever been mistaken for: Daniel Craig and Liam Neeson. So I'll take it. Oh, do I got to cut now?
In a minute.
Oh, I got to cut.
Yeah. Well, honestly, Ray, I'll stop it here, Ray. But honestly, you're an absolute star.
Thank you.
You have to stay in touch, mate. It'd be great to have you on again soon.
Please do. I look forward to it.
And honestly, massive pleasure to have you on. Scott, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And as I say, everything you've done in the sport, you go down as a legend in my eyes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
You too.
So there we have it. RayMancini, what a star that guy is. Absolute privilege to have him on. As I say, he goes down as one of the best for me. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Check him out. He's on all the socials as well. Get behind him. Find out what he's doing. Find out what movie he's doing next by the sounds of it. And just great to have him on. As I say, big shout out to Scott, who's done a lot of great work there. And we'll hopefully get Scott on at some point as well. So he's probably dreading it. But yeah, thank you very much. You've been watching JG's Fight Talk. Hit the subscribe button and check out the rest of the content. Thank you very much and take care. Have some of this.